This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How we doing today on a Tuesday? It's the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. Hope you and yours are doing well. We're live from the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. You're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify. You can find the show on the Bama Central YouTube channel, on the Bama Central Facebook page. We are, as we said, live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. Back in the studio today. No ice on the road. Hope you and yours are doing well with all the winter weather that came across the entire country. I hope there was no ice, no tree damage in your area. But if there is, hope you're staying safe. If you are worried about your roof, make sure you call Purple Turtle Roofing at 877-787-6635. They'll come out and give you a free roof inspection after this storm. Make sure that you are good to go. Make sure there's no cracks in your roof. Make sure there's no trouble spots, any broken shingles, any screws that are stripped on your metal roofs, or really any kind of roof problem that you might have. You can call Purple Turtle Roofing at 877-787-6635. We're going to have a lot of fun today with our guy, Theo Fernandez. Make sure you follow Theo Fernandez at Theo Fernandez _. You can find him right there writing all things Alabama related for BamaCentral.com and working for WVUA 23 right here in Tuscaloosa as well. Make sure you follow all his work on all his platforms. You can find it at Theo Fernandez _. We're going to have a lot of fun today talking about some coaches, some football coaches. We're going to talk about some offensive coordinators, some offensive line coaches. We're going to get into court cases that are postponed. Charles Bediako is eligible tonight because of a postponed court date, 10 days postponement. Charles Bediako gets 3 more games to play. So we'll talk about that as well. A lot of things to get into with Theo Fernandez. Find us on the Bama Central YouTube channel. Leave us a comment right there. You can call us on the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800. You can leave us a comment at Joe Gaither 6, and of course at Theo Fernandez _. Good morning, Theo. How we doing?
I'm doing good, Joe. It's a nice cold morning. Felt like I was back in New York. Had to defrost my car. I'm loving it, feeling a little nostalgic and ready to get things on the road.
You weren't one of those that tried to do the ice scraper and smash the whole windshield through. Have you seen those viral videos?
Come on, Joe. I'm a pro at this. I've been doing this my whole life, man. Which actually, I just found out that I don't even own an ice scraper anymore. I thought I had one, but I don't.
What's the technique? I mean, you're not supposed to spray it with water, right? You're not supposed to do anything like that.
So with water, you got to wait until it's near the finishing stages, and then you can put a little water on, and then it'll finish it off. But early on, you throw water on, it's going to freeze right over.
Okay, well, luckily I did not have that experience this morning. You were waking up way earlier than I was, but yeah, there was little ice speckles on my windshield, and we just drove right through it. It's all good.
Yeah, it's a great morning, man. I believe it was projected to be the coldest night of the year last night. So if you guys want something to look forward to, that might be as bad as it gets right now.
All right, sounds great. That's perfect. You survived, West Alabama. You survived. No snow, the very, very little ice, just a little ice on the windshields. We're all good. Everything's good.
Yes, it is.
All right, Theo, what do you want to get into? I want to get into just something just small, but maybe you find it interesting. Maybe you won't find it interesting. But we finished the show yesterday at the very end of the show talking about the 2 AFC and NFC championship games, just briefly. Just this is what happened. This is my reaction. Fun stuff. Cool. We got a Super Bowl. Goodbye. Not very in depth, which is fine. It's an Alabama show. It's not an NFL show. Where I want to go from there is to go back to yesterday's just kind of setup. Yes, the Seattle Seahawks beat the Los Angeles Rams. The Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl. Okay, well, what do we make about the 1 year that Ryan Grubb is with the Seattle Seahawks? They don't make the playoffs. They were playoff bound last year, right? And little Geno Smith, it wasn't so great. Didn't make the playoffs. Look up their record last year. I
believe they were 9-8, and I'm double checking that right now.
Yeah, please, thank you. All right, so they go from hypothetically 9-8 to the number 1 seed in the NFC.
They were 10-7, so good season, just fell short.
And then they cruised. I mean, honestly, through the back part of the season, and secured the number 1 overall seed, and they dominated the 49ers. They dominated the 49ers last round. It was a bloodbath. It was not close. It was over in like 5 minutes. This past week's game with the Rams was a bit closer, but you see Clint Kubiak and you see all these offensive plays, JSN in the backfield doing crazy fun things, getting open. You see Kenneth Walker being a really, really strong running back, and you see the Seahawks have made it to the Super Bowl 1 year after firing Ryan Grubb. So we ask you, or we take that and we take the conversation. Obviously, Alabama's offense this year, you can describe it. Was it underwhelming? Was it disappointing? Was it upsetting? Was it how would you describe it? I mean, it was good in a lot of ways. It was great in a lot of ways, but there was no balance. Imbalanced, it might be the right word to describe Alabama's offense this past year. Overpowered, over-reliant on Ty Simpson and his arm, obviously, because you didn't have any running game at all. And so you're asking a first-year quarterback to sling the ball all over the field and get you down the field. Pretty far-fetched if you want to say something about a style. Like, I wouldn't ask a first-year quarterback to be throwing all those passes. Come on, give him some help. But all this ultimately falls on Kalen DeBoer. But the next one is Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator. Obviously, you did have Nick Sheridan in the building this year to kind of help the continuity factor. Hey, this is what we did last year. These are some things that worked. These are all, it's all your terminology. It's all Kalen DeBoer's terminology anyways. But there's a little continuity from Nick Sheridan to Ryan Grubb. Do you make anything of the Seahawks offense going from Midville, we're 10-7, we're 10-6, 10-7, we're 10-7, we missed the playoffs, we're in Midville. Now, obviously, the NFC West is a very difficult division. So 10-7, you still had a good year, but you missed the playoffs because it's a very difficult division. 3 NFC West teams made the playoffs this past year, and a very strong division. Do you make anything of Ryan Grubb? The year after he leaves Seattle, their offense takes off and they're in the Super Bowl.
Well, did you see the Mike McDonald interview from about a month ago? Do you know what I'm referencing here?
Is this the one where I spent more time with my son and it's 30 minutes a week or something?
That was, I don't know if that was the same interview, but I did hear an interview where he was kind of ranting about some offensive coordinators who just operate certain ways. And he said one of the things like, oh yeah, like I hate it when, I'm paraphrasing heavily here, I hate it when an offensive coordinator, will run a play once and it works, and then you see him run it throughout the course of the season. I forget some of the other stuff that was said, but it was just talking about offensive coordinators who didn't really understand the game, who tried to rely on talent, who did all this stuff. And every Seahawks fan was instantly like, okay, yeah, this is clearly about Grubb. And it came, I believe this came right after the Georgia game, the SEC championship. So it was a time when a couple Bama fans picked it up, and we're starting to rip on Ryan Grubb a little bit. And just looking at the Seahawks team, like, okay, Darnold is an upgrade over Geno Smith. We know that. JSN goes from 1,100 yards to 1,700 yards and being the best receiver in football. This team's offensive explosion has just been unreal, and they are a completely different unit. It's hard not to at least put a little bit of stock into why is the Seahawks team so much better now? Why, like, how does this all happen as soon as Grubb leaves? Because, sure, Darnold's a part of it. He's a good QB. Geno Smith had the ability to throw the football to play competent NFL snaps, and the rest of the team is pretty similar on offense. Little frustrating, and I think that McDonald definitely wanted Grubb gone from Seattle.
Yeah, you look at the numbers. You have last year was right about 5,600 yards worth of offense. 5,600 yards worth of offense for Seattle in the 17-game regular season. This year they're right at 5,900. So 300 more yards roughly in the same amount of time. Now there were 200 fewer passing yards. It was 3,800 passing yards this year. 3,877 was Sam Darnold. The year before was 4,020 something. So right about 200, 150 yards fewer passing. They made it up rushing. They were about 400 more rushing yards this year. They were at 1,600, 16 and change last year. They're at just over 2,000, almost 2,100, 2,096 rushing yards this year for Seattle. So they ran the ball much, much better under Clint Kubiak. They ran the ball much better. And obviously, Sam Darnold is a much bit different, and you can argue about being better or worse than Geno Smith. I think some years he's been much better, and some years he's been worse than Geno Smith. So, it's kind of been, how do you want to compare Geno Smith? I don't care. You can make that own argument your own way. But not drastically different quarterbacks. Sam Darnold is different as a totally different human, but production-wise, they've been kind of two guys in different, the same guy in two different bodies. In my opinion. So really, you've just done a better job scheming the offense open and sequencing your plays and being more efficient in the run game, being more effective in the run game. Is this a concern if you're an Alabama fan? If you're an Alabama fan and you're seeing, wow, this team let Ryan Grubb go after one season. Their offense put up 300-ish more yards, 400-ish more yards in the season. Their offense obviously their defense basically controlled the game against the 49ers. Their offense didn't really press the gas. They obviously they did well, but they didn't press the gas and try to do anything risky or dangerous. You had a kick return touchdown off the bat. I think you had a pick six as well pretty soon for Seattle. So they beat the 49ers in all three phases. They beat the brakes off the 49ers. This past week it was, hey, we're just going to stay right in front of your Rams. We're just going to be more consistent on offense. We'll get a stop or two, but we will execute in the red zone, and you will kick a field goal or two, and boom, there's your difference right there. So is there concern? You're seeing people online, the Seahawks offense is unlocked under Clint Kubiak. Thank God we got rid of Ryan Grubb. Well, did Alabama get a lemon in Ryan Grubb?
I don't think that's a fair take to make right now, right? We've seen 1 year of him in Bama. We saw a guy who was pretty incredible at Washington, right? With the results that we saw.
Oh yeah, Washington offense was incredible.
I forget too all the time just how absurd that team was.
1,000-yard rusher, 2,000-yard receivers,
without a ton of talent in the running back room. Also, without guys who you can look at and say, oh yeah, this guy's something crazy. Even Jalen Polk's NFL career. How's that going? Right?
Yeah, not good.
And he was an unreal player at Washington. Michael Penix is obviously not translated. Atlanta Falcons fans, Hunter Brantley and everyone listening probably back me up on that one. There was an incredible run at Washington. He's done stuff right. And look, at the end of the day, not everyone's meant for the NFL. We see it all the time. College game, pro game is completely different animals, and some guys are better suited for college. Don't forget the fact that this was there was a point in the season when Ryan Grubb was loved in this town.
I think there still is. I'm just asking questions. Like I said before, this isn't like habanero spice. This is mild salsa.
But I think it is worth the reminder of the fact that there was a time when this guy was, he gives it to Proctor on a 4th down or on the play against Georgia, and he's running a 4th and 8 against Mizzou and dialing up the play call, and Ty's able to deliver. He did a lot of things that really, really impressed me. I had a lot of things where I was like, yeah, I really like this guy running the offense. And we know that a lot of the problems with Alabama's offense down the stretch came down to other things, right? It came down to, oh, your QB's eating soup and crackers, and oh, your offensive line, can't block. Ty Simpson is going to get hit in the backfield and lose a fumble, and you're having special teams issues, and it's just obviously so many different things. And the running back room's underperforming. So much of it kind of compounded together. Where how is Alabama going to run that ball, right? How is Alabama possibly going to set stuff up? And you made the move with Kapilovic. You've brought in a very, very new offensive line. I will say that it puts some pressure on Ryan Grubb for 2026. More than just some. The seat is not cold. I'll say that. It's not hot. but there is absolutely a world where 2026 is Ryan Grubb's last year at the helm if things don't go according to plan for Alabama's offense. I have a fair amount of confidence that he is the right guy for the job. I think that Alabama's offense should be much improved with a competent line, knock on wood, with, an improved running back room, which I believe that. Right. A lot of it's hypothetical, but I think that you give Ryan Grubb what he needs, he'll get you a really fun offense, and we can get back to watching, 2023 Washington type football.
Yeah, I mean, for Ryan, like the flip side of this coin is acknowledging all the deficiencies on offense and holding it up. Looking at the success of the Alabama season through the lens of the deficiencies on the Alabama offense, because you've got a team that made the SEC championship, a team that was selected for the college football playoff, and a team that was really, really strong. I mean, what did the final end up being? 12-4. 11-4.
Alabama 11-4.
Right. So you've made improvements in the win department from year one. You get to the postseason actually from Kalen DeBoer year one, and you did all that without a running game at all. And like people can talk about, well, you ran well in the Auburn game, you ran well in the Vanderbilt game. It's like, no, you didn't. You ran better. You ran an acceptable amount in those two games. The rest of the season, it was like, well, I hope we can get 3 yards. Well, I hope we don't get stuff for -1 yard.
You penciled in 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8, just about every drive.
Exactly. Right? And so if you're an offensive coordinator, like Ryan Grubb did call a lot of different runs throughout the season, trying pin and pull, inside zone, duo, a little bit of power, a little bit of counter, a little bit. We did a little quarterback read towards the end of the year. But you tried all kinds of running concepts, and none of them worked. And so, like, there's a little bit of, you should give Ryan Grubb credit for the offense still managing points. I mean, you had a 17-point comeback out in Oklahoma because of the offense, because of the offensive big plays down the field, passing the football down the field. You found Lousier Brooks, you found Isaiah Horton, you found Jeremy Bernard in that game, and Ty Simpson obviously gets a lot of credit as well because the brunt of the offense, the bulk of the offense, is on his shoulder. When you said cheese and crackers, I thought of something. If in the future, like if I'm ever a coach, in the future, if my quarterback can't eat because he's got a broken rib or a busted back or whatever he's dealing with, and his prognosis is he can't eat real food because X or Y or Z, the offensive line should just be made to eat the exact same diet as the quarterback is.
Do you know what would happen if you tried to take food from an offensive lineman?
Well, maybe they would be more motivated to pass protect and to run block, because hey, if I have to eat what my quarterback has to eat, well, I want my quarterback's diet to be steak, potatoes, greens, just good food, real food, hearty food, ribs, chicken, like actual food. But if my quarterback's got a busted rib and he's got to take medication, and that means all he can eat is chicken noodle soup, so that means all I can eat is chicken noodle soup, is that not a motivator?
Maybe if you want to take away the taco casa, the Krispy Kreme, sure.
Yeah, yes.
Soup is, man, you know how much these offensive linemen need to eat.
Well, maybe they should. That's the motivator. That's like the motivating factor. Is like, you don't want to have chicken noodle soup. Don't make your brother eat chicken noodle soup because you can't protect him.
That's a new one for sure.
So I do think Ryan Grubb should get, like, it's weird. It's mixed because on one end, the offense looked janky and looked broken, didn't look very, didn't have any continuity, didn't have any balance. But on the other hand, they're still pretty productive. I mean, you go into Athens and you get up on Georgia. You're able, Ty Simpson's dotting up Georgia left and right over in Athens. Now, obviously, the flip side, the second game, their pressure really, really crumbled the Alabama offensive line, and you couldn't get really anything going in the passing or running game. So you give Georgia credit there, but you go exactly like you said, 4th and 8. It's Ty Simpson dropping his gonads on the table, and I'm going to make a big play. And we've got guys, we're just going to keep making plays. And Ryan,
they did it again moments later on the 4th and 2 to Daniel Hill.
Right. Ryan Grubb gets credit for a lot of that. Yeah. But he still didn't have a running game, so it's like hard to, do I criticize him? Is it more on the players? Were the players, were they punannies? Were they just not playing tough and not playing hard, not playing strong, or they had bad technique? Anyways, I saw Seattle making the Super Bowl, and I started to see, well, you get rid of Ryan Grubb and you see what happens. I know the Eagles fans are currently feeling that way with their offensive coordinator, with Patullo getting moved on. They're looking for the new offensive coordinator, and they're hoping that they have the same result. We get rid of Patullo, we get a real offensive coordinator in here, we're going to be in the Super Bowl.
It won't work for Philly.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But that's just a parallel.
Yes. No, I mean, we know the value of an OC, right? We know how much it can bring to a football team, but I think there are too many, it's like a science equation, right? There's too many variables and you can't really single one out. You've so much to choose from. Like, okay, what caused this team? And the most likely case is that everything probably played a little bit of a role, right? And the most likely case is like, okay, yeah, Ryan Grubb wasn't a perfect offensive coordinator. There's probably offensive coordinators out there who could have done things to maybe improve the situation a little, but when it's your first year in the job, first year in the conference, coming from the NFL, like there's too much to single anything out. So I think that my gut right now is telling me to trust the body of work that Ryan Grubb has, right? Trust the resume and the stuff he's done, and the trust that Kalen DeBoer has put in him, and wait and see, because 2026, you've removed a bunch of these other variables. So now if something goes wrong, you can kind of single out, okay, maybe it's the guy running the offense. We'll wait and see, I guess.
All right, Theo. So if I'm giving you the pin for the 2025 season and you've got to grade Ryan Grubb, are you B+ because of everything that he was able to get out of an offense that was somewhat broken? Are you C- because he wasn't able to fix the broken parts of the offense? Were you F because of the losses, because you got blown out against the SEC champions? You didn't score a touchdown in the Rose Bowl. You're calling a weird 4th and 1 play on your own 30-yard line in the Rose Bowl. Are you A+ because, wow, you got a lot out of Tyson? Where do you fall, and why do you grade Ryan Grubb what you're going to grade him?
I like that question a lot, and I think I'd be willing to listen to a wide variety of answers.
Sure, exactly.
I'm going to land at a B-. You're an offense that scored 0 points in your biggest win of the year on the road against Georgia, right? Of the regular season, at least. You're an offense that
0 second half points.
0 second half points, yes.
Excuse me.
Yeah. 0 points would be hard to win with. An offense that looked so stale, so much over the course of the season, right? That, we were coming in here on Mondays all fall and discussing, man, that defense really saved Alabama there. And I mean, there were so many times where the offense really did so little, right? Where you're set up by a turnover, or you're able to force them to punt all the time. You get good field position. Like, there was a lot that the offense got carried through. But there were also moments where the offense did rise to the occasion, right? There was Ty Simpson leading a 2-minute drill for a touchdown on practically every drive throughout the middle of the season. There was that Mizzou game, which was some incredible offensive moments, right? That strike to 4th and 8 to Lazier Brooks was phenomenal. There was, we're down 17 in Norman, and I know you got helped out by the defense setting stuff up for you, but Ty Simpson was able to lead the offense and do what needed to be done. So I think, the good and the bad kind of balances out, right? This is a team that had a championship level defense for much of the season. A team that, if the offense was performing at that same level, definitely doesn't get blown out by Indiana. But also, an offense that had its moments. I think B- is a fair grade there.
I think B- is about right, because you're mitigating. I mean, we've been dancing around the entire conversation. You're mitigating an offensive line that is just not very good, honestly. I mean, you can talk about, they pass protected. Okay. Who the heck is calling me? Yeah, somebody's calling me. It says they're throwing my camera out. You're dealing with an offense that, yeah, I know what they're calling for. An offensive line that is broken, that I think you're trying to guess, can I get 2 yards on a running play? Can I get 4 yards on a running play? And can I get adequate pass protection for any of my passing concepts? And I do think that really throws a lot of doubt into the mind of the offensive coordinator and makes things pretty complicated for what do I call, when do I call it, how do I call it? So I think B- is probably a very fair grade. I mean, the offensive line was so defunct that you couldn't run the football in any of your, like, you didn't really run the football very well against Oklahoma in the second game either. You did have the 130-yard run from Daniel Hill, and Daniel Hill had the touchdown run at the end as well. But on the whole, you didn't run the ball that effectively there either. You didn't run the ball at all against Georgia in the SEC championship. -3 yards, -3 yards. You didn't run the ball against Indiana either. And so it's like, without that aspect of your offense against an elite team, an elite defense that you played, those last three defenses were really, really good defenses. The offense looked really tough to watch, So I think C plus B minus is probably the fairest place that you can land for Ryan Grubb. And so let's fast forward into the next topic and into some actual news. We talked about him yesterday. Adrian Clem was officially named was reported. Excuse me. We should reported. Expected to hire, to use all those caveats in case something falls through. But Adrian Clem is going to be your next Alabama offensive line coach. We talked about him just a little bit yesterday. He's coming from Southern California. He was a defensive analyst for USC this past season, but has an extensive history and career coaching offensive linemen. Played offensive line out in Hawaii. Was a pretty nice little player for the Hawaii. What are they? Rainbow Warriors.
Warriors.
That's right. And then was a second-round draft pick by Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. Became a 3-time Super Bowl champion as an offensive lineman, and has coached all over the place. Oregon with the Pittsburgh Steelers, coaching Najee Harris, coaching New England with Bill Belichick for a season. Adrian Clem is coming to Tuscaloosa, and I believe, let's caveat, I believe he will be one of 2 offensive line coaches that are coming to town. I think he will probably be the primary offensive line coach, handling the scheme, hey, we want to run inside zone, we don't want to run power, whatever the case may be. We want to block up. We want to block duo this way. We want to block counter that way. He's going to set the scheme for the offensive line. We want to slide protect. We want to man-to-man protect. We want to count our numbers this way. Here's how we want to pass off twisters and stunts, that sort of thing. I think he's going to handle schematically the offensive line. And the second coach that is not yet to be identified is going to be coaching more the technique. Hey, Billy, you're too high on your pads. Hey, Charlie, your hands aren't in the right position. Hey, Michael, you didn't run your feet on this play, like actual technique of playing offensive line. So I think you're going to see 2 offensive line coaches when it's all said and done, when all the dust settles. And both of those coaches will have very specific duties, but they need to work hand in hand. And I think they're both going to be charged with, hey, man, can you guys get our offense going? Because it starts in your room.
Yeah, and I like that. First of all, I'm not going to sit around and pretend that, like, yeah, I've watched all the film on all this offensive lines. But I mean, just from everything that I've heard and people say, I'm no expert on offensive line play, and I'm certainly no expert on offensive line coaching, but he's very highly reviewed everywhere he's went, right? People have no real negative things to say about him. See no reason to doubt the hire. And like we said yesterday, I'm a very, very big fan of the idea of having that second offensive line coach.
Yeah, it's such a nuanced position that I do think that you need someone to focus on the scheme of, hey, these 5 guys, they can't run that play. They have to run this running play. They have to, if it's a this or a that, they're going to be focused in on what they can do. And your guys who are going to be focused in on the technique are going to be saying, hey, man, your pad level's too high. Get that backboard out. Get the backboard out, slap it on everybody's back, and make them go underneath the chute, under the tunnel chute, run their feet a little bit with a nice and flat back, get some technique going for this offensive line, and really start to move some people so the running back room can shine the way that I think we all think the running back room can shine.
Yeah, we know the talent's there, and there's talent on this offensive line too. Like, I know we've brought in, it's a mix because we bring in a guy like Javen James, who, yeah, he was very, under recruited. Certainly, he was started at Akron, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And he's taking steps up all the time. So you've got a guy who's, kind of fought for it and shown that he can play at this level through his career. And then you've got guys like Jackson Lloyd, who, highly recruited, highly touted, high 4-star. So it's just a mix of, you have talent, you have production.
He's a 5-star in my heart.
5-star in your heart. And then Michael Carroll is a true 5-star. Right? This is the number one interior lineman and a guy who has backed it up, right? Showed that he can play. You throw in a guy like Delgatti, who coming from a lower level, but certainly a lot of reason to believe he can play at this level.
He's got that 5 mile dog in him.
It is really I like the group fundamentally. And we know that there is an offense that can shine. We know that whoever wins the quarterback job is going to be, it's a really talented player either way. There's highly touted running backs. There's a receiving room that I don't want to talk about where it could stand nationally, but we know that guys
pretty
are
good
in there. Yeah.
Pretty good.
A lot falls on this offensive line. And tying into what we just said about Grubb, like we need to get this variable out of the equation. We need an offensive line that doesn't need to be dominant, needs to be consistent, needs to allow the offense to do what it needs to do. And
dominance would be nice.
Dominance would be nice. I mean, yeah.
But adequacy is a bar.
That's the exact word I was looking for. We need to be adequate.
Racing Delgatti is my favorite breed of 5 mile an hour dog.
I love that name. I don't know, something.
Racing Delgatti.
Racing. I like it a lot.
He's gonna be. Yeah, my high school coach would always say, "We got to be the 5 mile an hour dog, Joe. You got to be nipping at their heels for 5 miles. They're gonna get tired of it. They'll get tired of it, but you won't get tired of it. You're gonna keep biting their heels until they bleed, and then they'll fall." I'm like, all right, there you go.
I like that.
So Racing Delgatti, he's a 5 mile dog.
5 mile dog.
That's right. All right, so you bring in Adrian Clem. That becomes like your official news. We talked about it yesterday as it was kind of swirling over the weekend, and more reports are basically saying that numbers are getting finalized, contracts are getting finalized, decisions are getting finalized. It seems like Adrian Clem is all but on his way to Tuscaloosa, and we'll see. It's my belief that there will be a second offensive line coach hired. Now, that is not based on It's based on mild knowledge. It's based on mild knowledge. I just don't want to make it sound like it's a fact. That's my point. It's my belief that there will be a second offensive line coach hired. All right. So you got any other football thoughts before we spin into go to court?
No, I feel good about everything.
All right, so let's go. Actually, let's do that. Let's go to court. We will get our guy Cam Metzger's on the voicemail line. You can call the voicemail line at 205-462-7340 extension 800. Before we do that, though, we want to let you know the program is brought to you by Purple Turtle Roofing. At Purple Turtle Roofing, we're not just another contractor. We're your neighbor and your advocate when it comes to protecting your home or business. With years of hands-on experience, top-tier certification, and a commitment to excellence, we've built the reputation as Alabama's go-to roofing solution. We specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, emergency storm repairs, full-on roof replacements, insurance claims support, and more. Our guy Brax Garrison or Dustin Foley or any of their teammates will come out to your house and give you a free roof inspection if you call 877-787-6635. They'll come out, let you know what's going on with your roof. They're not going to try to sell you a new roof if you don't need one. They're going to work with you. They'll work with your insurance company to make sure that everything you've got is taken care of. Make sure that you have the peace of mind that you deserve in your home. That's 877-787-6635. Roofing with heart, built to last. Purple Turtle Roofing. All right, like we said, we're going to go out to the voicemail line because I believe my man Cam's talking basketball. Alabama taking on the Missouri Tigers tonight at 7 o'clock. Got that tip-off time moved from 8 o'clock up to 7 o'clock. So that is an exciting thing for those of us with bedtimes. So let's go out to the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800.
Guys, Cam here. Man, I got a bone to pick with a basketball team, man. They're so hard to watch. We have so much potential on this roster, but they don't want to play. I don't understand. How can you every game have 2 to 3 guys out. Like, do they just not want to play? I mean, they just want to get their check and just sit on the bench and watch the game? Like, they're hurting their team. Man, I hate to say it, and sorry for the language, but they're soft as out shit, man. Like, these injuries that they have, quote-unquote injuries, I mean, you can play through that, man. Like, it's hard to watch, man. You even got coaches sitting out there not even caring that you got an ex-pro on your team because they're going to beat you. But they don't care. They're just going to sit there and watch the game from the bench because they're quote-unquote hurt, man. I hope they snap out of it, man, because at this rate, I'd be surprised they even make the tournament, if we're being completely honest, the way they're playing right now. But hopefully they'll snap out of it and live up to the hype, because I know they've got talent, and we got one of the better coaches in college basketball, Nate Oates, and it's just hard to watch, man. But roll tide anyway, guys.
Roll Tide, that's Cam on the voicemail machine, talking about how hard it is to watch this basketball. And look, the inconsistency is maddening, absolutely maddening. And the fact that he's addressing the injuries, the fact that you never know who you're going to be able to count on night in and night out. You get ready to go to a game, you get ready to watch a game, you get ready to cover a game, and these two guys are hurt tonight. What did they do in practice? We don't know. They didn't tell us. They didn't. Just different. Golly, nuts. What happens? You know, you had a whole week off last week. You had a whole week off, and at the Friday press conference, Coach Oates talks about how he thinks everybody's healthy and he thinks everybody's going to be able to play and everybody's going to be there. And then on Friday night, the availability report, and it comes out for Aiden Holloway and Amari Allen, both as questionable or doubtful, whatever they were listed as. And then he the next day, oh yeah, well, Amari is a little dinged up, and Aiden has a wrist injury, so they're going to be out. And it's like, well, what did they do all week, Coach? What did they do all week? Well, yesterday's press conference, he says, well, Aiden Holloway, he practiced today, so unless he has a setback today, I expect him to be able to go. I think Amari is still going to be out. And it's like, well, what are we doing? Are you beating them with shovels? Are they doing full body contact drills? Are the UFC fighting? I don't understand what they're doing in practice. It's hard, Theo, to go the route that I mean, Cam is not wrong to feel this way, to feel that they're soft. It's hard for me to go that route because maybe there is something going on that we just don't know about. But at this point, maybe Cam's exactly right that they're just soft and they're not playing through injuries and knocks and nicks that they could be playing through. I mean, look, you cut your finger doing something, you're still writing articles, right? You cut your finger cooking tonight. I hope you don't. Be careful with the knives in your kitchen. But, like, you're still going to be writing articles. You guys all heard me every Monday morning after a Bears win. My voice is my voice is not very good because I've been yelling at my TV. But you just fight through it. It's not like those are like major injuries, obviously. But I'm just trying to make some sort of parallel and contrast for everybody that's listening to this with a real job. Oh, you hurt your back helping your wife put something up on the wall, right? Hang a TV, hang a piece of art, whatever the case may be, hanging some curtains. Well, you're still going to work the next day because you guys are tough and you guys are, committed to your job. You can't just call out. So I have a hard time going all the way that Cam did, but I understand why he's going that route. I definitely think that is a thought going through a lot of people's minds. I don't think it's wild at all, Theo. So, like, it's pretty frustrating watching this team. And tonight, they're taking on Missouri. Aiden Holloway apparently going to be back in the lineup. Amari Allen is doubtful for tonight. You've got Charles Bediako for 3 more games, so yay, great. But it's been a difficult basketball season to watch. I agree with you, Cam.
I wonder sometimes about the leadership of this team. And you look at last year's roster, right? And you look at, first of all, Chris Youngblood he's an incredible leader. He's an incredible locker room culture guy, To put in perspective, like Oklahoma City, the Thunder played on Martin Luther King Day, and Youngblood was the guy to speak to the fans, the guy to give the
Thunder up.
He is loved in the locker room. He's a great culture. He's a great leader, as is Sears, as is Grant Nelson. And you just had all this veteran leadership on the roster.
Thunder up.
Yeah, Youngblood's awesome on OKC, man. I love that guy. I look at the roster now, and this is almost pure speculation, but you wonder what it's like in that locker room. You wonder who that guy is who's running things. I believe Houston Millett does a lot of that. I believe that, everything that I've heard, and, I got to speak to his father for a story I'm putting out in the coming, probably next week early. And like, he is a guy who really embraces this blue collar tough mentality, and he's great in that regard. But you need a lot of voices. You need a lot of just tough players. Like Mo Diabate was one of those guys last year. Who has filled that role? I don't think anyone has. I think LeBaron Philon, we know he's a phenomenal basketball player. What is his leadership?
Is he a leader of men?
Is he a leader of men? I don't want to say that he's not, but we don't know. So I think there's just a lot of things that people have every right to question with this team. Not being an NCAA tournament team,
that's a little far.
Alabama will be in the tournament.
Right now, Joe Lunardi has Alabama as a 5 seed. So you got a long way to fall if you're going to fall out of the tournament. Has Alabama as a 5 seed taking on FAU in the Portland bracket. I know my boss hates to see that out in Portland.
We're going to end up there, aren't we?
Yeah, and you're paired up with, this is what I don't want to see. You're paired up with BYU Hawaii. So please, anything to not play AJ DePanza, please. I would not. Your take of not being a Sweet 16 team that you gave yesterday, Alabama BYU in the round of 32 sounds like hell. Sounds like jump off a cliff.
Hey,
sounds like. Did you see Nate Ament score 29 points? How many points is AJ DePanza going to score?
He's coming off a 40-point game from this weekend too. Yeah. Oh, don't write off the Rainbow Warriors, man. The second time we're talking about Hawaii in one show, which is probably a record, but like
Timmy Chang.
That team is fun, man. There's some good mid-majors, and I think it speaks volumes about this Alabama team that we can sit here and think like, oh, I can see a mid-major putting on a show and, making Alabama the team that is embarrassed. I tweeted out my Sweet 16 take, and I've already gotten a couple bookmarks on it.
So I'm sure you do.
People waiting to prove me wrong, but I stand by that, man. I don't think this Alabama team has it. And I think that the Tide will, I'm surprised they weren't dropped down to the 6th line, honestly. Alabama's on the verge of falling out of the top 25. There are going to be some more rough moments through the season. I think just in general, as we reflect on this team, LeBaron Philon is leading the SEC in scoring. He's, I believe, number 3 or so in assists. He's a great player. Holloway is 6th in scoring.
Philon.
Those two are getting the job done.
When they're playing, get back on the floor.
I mean, you got other guys who can put, like Amari Allen has had some phenomenal days offensively.
But who do you have besides, when you don't have LeBaron and Aiden Holloway, right?
Yeah.
Who do you have driving the offense? Who do you have creating the offense?
I'll tell you, so far, it does not look like it's Jaleel Bethea. It does not look like he can be that guy for Alabama, at least this season.
He looks like he's pressing so hard to me. He looks like he wants to show, I can lead it, instead of just being nice and calm out there. I mean, Latrell is fine. Latrell had, 14 points in the last game and actually did look like an initiator in the last game against Tennessee. But largely, you've struggled behind LeBaron. You don't have enough. Latrell, just sit on the wing, catch and shoot. Houston Millett, catch and shoot. Please just catch and shoot. Jaleel, catch and shoot. Go ahead.
Houston Millett is allergic to driving the basketball.
Yeah.
And it is frustrating. It's just like he'll get the ball and it changes the complexity of what the defense needs to do because they know he's not going to drive. They're daring him to drive and he just won't do it. That is, I don't know. It's he does a lot of great. He grabbed 5 offensive rebounds against Tennessee. He does a lot of great things on a basketball court. That frustrates me a little bit. And, I think it looks a little disjointed with Reitzel sometimes. I think that he fit so seamlessly into that offense in 2024, right? I think it worked with him and Sears and Rylan Griffin, and it just doesn't for this team. Like, it just feels awkward sometimes when he's out on that court, where almost to the point where it feels like maybe he should just be the guy to lead the second unit. Not a knock on him. He's a starting caliber player, but some guys just don't fit with certain teams. This Alabama team does not feel like a cohesive unit right now.
I think that's fair. And like, whether it be the actual pieces that are on the roster or it be the lack of availability of everyone, like you're piecemealing the roster together each and every night because of different availability reports. It's so like Coach Oates like, well, I got this group of 8, I got this group of 9, I got this group of 7. We can just make it work tonight this way, and it doesn't look that great. Tonight, you're taking on Missouri, 7 o'clock, right there at Coleman Coliseum. I hope that you'll be there because the team certainly needs you to be in Coleman Coliseum. I'll be there. You'll have Alabama. Ken Pom has Alabama rated as a 90-79 winner over Missouri. Missouri's 56 in Ken Pom. Missouri, scroll down to 56 there, Joe, is 54th in offensive efficiency and is 90th in defensive efficiency. 91st in defensive efficiency. Alabama, 3rd overall in offensive efficiency, 69th in defensive efficiency. So 69th in defensive efficiency, playing at the 8th fastest tempo in college basketball. Missouri's tempo is at 243. But I think this is a dangerous matchup for Alabama.
It is. Look, you guys remember what happened when Alabama went to Columbia last year, and just I think this game could.
I see number 25 still on that roster.
Yeah. No, I mean, Mitchell's been phenomenal.
He's incredible
for Missouri. He's improved a lot because people forget, like, yeah, he scored 31 against Bama. He was not as good a player last year as he is this year. Missouri, the only team in the SEC shooting above 50% from the field. They are the most efficient scoring, and they have had stretches where they have been able to play up tempo and succeed. I mean, this team went in and beat Florida. This is a good Missouri roster. And I think a team that I really had written off a bit at the start of the year. They got blown out by Kansas. I was like, okay, how good can this team be? And they're 4-3. They're above Alabama in the standings.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they are legitimately looking like an NCAA tournament team. With that being said, Alabama should be a much better team than these Tigers.
Missouri currently on the next 4 out, so they are basically the 5th team out of the tournament, according to Joe Lunardi. You got Seton Hall,
surprised by that.
Seton Hall, Indiana, Santa Clara, and TCU in the first 4 out. Missouri is number 1 on the next 4 out, so basically the 5th team out of the tournament. But I look at their roster.
I was thinking they'd be on like the 9 line. I'm a little surprised.
Mark Mitchell obviously gets all the headlines for what he scored last year, but just looking at them size-wise, Sean Phillips, 7 foot, 245. Senior. Mark Mitchell, 6'9", 230. Senior. Trent Pierce, 6'10", 225. Junior. Jacob Cruz, 6'8", 215. Senior. They got a lot of
Cruz
size.
Is a great shooter.
Got a lot of. That's the. He was on their team last year, wasn't
he?
Yes,
he was.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, really, their size is concerning to me from the rebounding aspect. And Alabama, that's been their biggest problem is offensive rebounding, or preventing offensive rebounds, and preventing second chance points. I see this as a pretty dangerous game for Alabama tonight. Especially if you're not going to have Amari Allen, you're not going to have your leading rebounder, then he's going to be out. You're going to be asking a lot of Aiden Sherrill, of Charles Bediako, of Noah Williamson. You're going to be asking something from Taylor Bowen. Sir, will you clock in tonight, Taylor Bowen? Will you clock in tonight and put your blue collar on with your hard hat? You got to have them both. You got to put the blue collar on and put the hard hat on, Taylor Bowen, and actually be a participant on this team. Not just a scorer, not just, I'm going to get me 8 points, whatever. You're going to have to defend somebody, and you're going to have to get some rebounds. I think he's been my biggest frustration through this season. has been his hot and cold nature, because you've seen it from Bol Bowen before throughout the year. You've seen instances of him playing, that is Taylor Bol Bowen playing Nate Oates basketball, playing really hard, getting a lot of rebounds, scoring because he's playing so hard, and being really effective, driving and cutting to the basket, making plays at the rim. But you've also seen moments from him that have looked like he's not really caring that much. And it's hard. It's not fair to say so-and-so doesn't care, because I think they all do care. But from an outside perspective, sometimes it looks like, Taylor Bol Bowen, are you plugged in? So coach, can we get him plugged? If we can get Bol Bowen plugged in, you get Holloway back, I do think Alabama's going to bounce back and win. You've lost 3 games in Colby Coliseum for the first time since, I believe, Nate Oates' first year. So it's been a difficult year in Coleman. It continues tonight as a dangerous Missouri team comes to town.
This is pretty close to a must win as far as...
yeah.
I will say that if Alabama loses this game, the bar lowers significantly for the season.
Yeah, you're probably dropping to a 7 seed at the moment.
Yeah, and this is the last. Look, I don't think Alabama will be all that competitive in the as far as
you're gonna beat Florida. You're gonna beat Texas A&M.
As far as racing for an SEC regular season title goes, I think you can beat any of those teams on a given night, but I don't think Alabama will be in the mix at the end of the season for, hey, can we win this regular season title? And you officially knock yourself out of contention with this loss.
Oh yeah,
dropping to 3-4. 4-3, and it's like, okay, maybe
you're hanging.
You're
hanging.
Alabama has 6 games, I believe, left, and they have 6 home games left. I know, and most of those are pretty winnable. You got Arkansas, you got Auburn, you got Texas A&M is kind of the 3 hardest there. I know one of them, South Carolina, which is a pretty easy one. Alabama's already lost 3 games at home, and they have not lost more than 4 games at home since Oates' first year. And that was a very, very different program in 2019, 2020 than it is right now. So
12 games left.
12 games left on the season. Alabama, I don't know what constitutes success here. I think, if you can go, 8-4? You feel good about that?
9-3.
I think you'd feel good about 8-4.
You probably would, but I'm greedy.
I don't think you have the right to be greedy with this team.
I'm gonna be greedy because Nate Oates has taught us to have high expectations.
Yeah, and my expectations are significantly tempered right now, and I'm just gonna leave it at that with this team.
All right, let's move into the last topic as it relates to basketball, and it is the court case that was supposed to be today, but the NCAA, their defendant could not make it to Tuscaloosa due to weather. What I was reading is that this defendant is in Tennessee, and I have a lot of people that are living in Tennessee, a lot of friends, a lot of family that live in Tennessee, and I know the weather has not been kind up there, but I do think the roads are passable. I do think the roads are passable. You could drive down if you really wanted to, but we'll take a break. Alabama gets a break. The defendant cannot make it to Tuscaloosa today, so the TRO, temporary restraining order, got extended by 10 days, making Charles Bediako eligible for tonight's game against Missouri, for Sunday's game against the Florida Gators, and for Wednesday's game against the Texas A&M Aggies. So you get a little bit of a break. You don't have to jump through any more hoops right for now to get Charles Bediako eligible, to keep him eligible. He is going to be eligible for the next 10 days. That's going to give you 3 more games. The NCAA is also asking Judge, it's Jim Phillips, right? Yes. Phillips, to recuse himself. Yeah. Let's make sure I have his name right. Your Honor, Judge James Roberts, excuse me.
Who's Phillips?
That's a combination of Ryan Phillips and I don't know who Jim was. requests Monday night Tuscaloosa County Judge, excuse me, Your Honor, I'm sorry, Your Honor, James Roberts to recuse himself from the college eligibility or collegiate eligibility case of Charles Bediako. So the NCAA put out a long statement talking about impartiality of the bench and suggesting that while it would not be overt partiality because of Roberts's donations to Alabama and his connections to Alabama, they made it clear it wouldn't be an overt compromise, conflict of interest, but it does have the appearances of potential conflict of interest. And so because of that, they're asking Judge James Roberts to recuse himself from the case. And if that's the case, there's going to be a new judge assigned to it. If that's the case, I wouldn't expect that to happen, but it might happen. I think you should be prepared for this story to turn any which way. But for now, Charles Bediako is eligible. James Roberts, Judge James Roberts, is still on the case, and we will see what happens next week with the case.
This is the kind of story that gets retold for years, and people talk about, cases and the bias and just how much this, how different college sports are in the South. It's the kind of thing that you have to see firsthand to really understand. And I never understood it growing up. And something like this, just let's take this for what it is, man. This is just an unreal story. This is Alabama brings in a professional basketball player mid-season who gets approved by a judge who donated 6 figures to the university and then magically can't make it to Alabama. And then you magically have someone who can't make it to Alabama because of weather. In the South, where, look, the northerner in me is going to come out right now. I'm sorry, the roads are not that bad. I don't know what it's like up in Tennessee right now, but they are not. You can make it to this case. I guarantee it.
We'll take that break.
This is a quintessential, wow, how is this happening? I'm not going to complain about it, but I'm just think it's hilarious. And if I was a fan of any other SEC team or any other college team, really, for that matter, I would be up in arms. I would be shocked. Like, how is this going on? How is Alabama pulling this off? That's the perspective that every single outsider to this has.
Here's the deal. I looked up UConn. UConn has 2 players on the roster that have professional experience in the EuroLeague. You look at Auburn has a player in the EuroLeague, professional experience. It is rampant in college basketball. You just played with Oklahoma, who had the player with European League, with Russian League experience. It is rampant throughout college basketball. These players with European League experience, which is a totally different thing. It is a totally different thing. These players never went to college. Charles Bediako did go to college. These players, here we go. I had the list. Yeah. Top 10 players. SEC players have played professionally. Tennessee's Ethan Bird, Auburn's Philip Jovich, South Carolina, Mike Shar, I'm not going to say that. Florida, Urban Klopshaw, Texas, Declan Durham Jr., Matthew Ball, and Lewis O'Brien, Oklahoma, Andreas Holt, and Kirill Ilatomsek, Kentucky, Andrea Yelovich, Alabama, Texas A&M, Ruben Dominguez, Ali Diva, and Federico, LSU, Max McKinnon, Ole Miss, Eduardo Klafke, Mississippi State, Sergei Makuta, and Anchor. Arkansas has Ilmir Jafke, I can't say that, and Missouri, Georgia, Vanderbilt doesn't have anyone. So that was pretty much the whole league. Has someone that's played European League basketball or professional basketball overseas. Now, I understand the big designation is these guys Philip Jovic at all. He's never played in college basketball before. He didn't give up his eligibility to go play European basketball. I understand that's a huge distinction. And I understand that is what people are upset about. Bediako came to Alabama, used some college eligibility, left college eligibility, forwent his college eligibility to go to the NBA and became a G League. And now he's back. But the problem is you've opened up these cans of worms, especially with David Najee. He goes, Najee never went to college either. Najee never went to college either, was in the NBA draft, was drafted, played professionally, and now, I want to come to college. And so, these loopholes are just being opened left and right, and Alabama, you can be upset about it, that's fine. I understand if you're upset about it. But Alabama is just following the leader and taking it. You heard it the other day. Oh, this isn't totally groundbreaking. This is just 1 degree of separation. This is just one more degree of separation from every little story. I mean, every story has been 1 more degree, 1 more degree, 1 more degree, and now you have a degree that Charles Bediako is back.
I'm just saying, at face value, you all know exactly how this situation looks. You can talk. We've talked about.
Be so upset that you change all of the rules, that you make it black and white, that you say, Alabama, you cheated. Okay, well, so did Florida with Urban Foxshire. So did Auburn with Philip Jovic. Let's figure out a way to make this a thing. Like college basketball. You want to play college basketball? That's fine. You want to play European League basketball? That's fine. But you say, what's the NBA draft? 19 years old, right? You got to be 19. You have to be a year now, basically to meet that deadline. All right. So at 19, you have 5 years. So you cannot play college basketball if you are over 24 years old. Basically, you have a 5-year clock. If you want to spend a year and a half in the EuroLeague at 18, at 19, at 20, and you want to come to college at 21, well, you don't have 4 years. You have, 3.5? You have 3.5 years. Basically, you got to figure out some sort of, and what I just threw out there probably isn't the best way to curb this, but you've got to figure out some way to curb this to where the European basketball player can still make it to college and have some eligibility, but you're protecting the amateurism that is college basketball. It's not amateur basketball. So, why should we pretend that it is?
Yeah, I mean,
you got to have some more set rules.
Look,
These go upset if you make some set.
Yes, but you know exactly how this situation looks. And I'm not talking even about the Bediako being brought into play anymore, because that was part of it. But I think it's hilarious. The judge with the Bama ties and oh no, the case was tomorrow, but he can't get there. It's a funny situation. It is.
Someone adjacent tonight might have given the judge a little bit of. Might have went to the judge's house and poured some water on the driveway.
I don't know. I don't know how it happened, but I think it's funny, man. This is the kind of story that will be retold for years when people talk about just how much college sports. This is when people talk about how much college sports means, man. Just means more. My favorite thing that I think I've seen on social media this week is Auburn and Tennessee fans uniting to all vote Charles Bediako into the G League next up game at NBA All-Star Weekend. Yeah. That would be one of the hats off if they could pull that off. I'm really excited. They're gonna announce votes soon, and as far as where people are right now, I really hope he's on that list because it would be one of the coolest things. Yeah. No, I would love for that to happen. That would be one of the cooler trolls that I've seen.
Unfortunately, JD has actually played NBA games and is out of eligibility. If he had played NBA games, then he might be cooking with something, cooking with gas. We'll see how these stories develop. All right, so I'm going to predict Alabama has an extremely ugly struggle win tonight against Missouri. I'm going to say it's going to be 7. I'm going to say it's going to be 78 to 76. Yeah, 78 to 76. Down. Close. Ugly. Not fun.
I think I have a different take on this one. I think it will get high scoring. I think Mizzou will play to Alabama's pace.
Yeah, I see.
And it'll end up very similar to last year. I've got the Tigers coming into Coleman, knocking off the Tide.
COU!
Give me Mizzou. 91 to 84.
Join us for the program tomorrow. Leave us a voice note with your reaction to the game tonight at 205-462-7340, extension 800. Leave us a voicemail with your thoughts on Charles Bediako or your thoughts on Adrian Clem, the Tigers offensive line coach. Leave us your thoughts on Ryan Grubb as well. We open the show with the Ryan Grubb. Short little discussion. Not too spicy right there. Just a little discussion on Ryan Grubb. We'd love to take your voicemails right there. We would love to take your comments. Alabama Central YouTube channel on our own social media machines at GoGator6, at Theo Fernandez _. And you can find the show on your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify. We appreciate it. We get out of here. Have a great day.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.